All right. Who's here? Hit the like button, please, guys. Oh, you know it, Victor. Is what I got to do, man. It's how I make a living, unfortunately. Hit like, guys, if you can. And jump in the chat whenever you'd like. Steve Blair, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? Good to see you. I hope you're well. Mark Masari. Good afternoon, sir. How you feeling today? Dr. Mark from upstate New York. Oh, nice. Good to see you. I'm feeling pretty well. How about you? I dislike the fact that Trump cares too much about U.S. optics to jail the criminal Democrats. Casual gamer. You guys are so full of shit. The fucking guy put out a Truth Social post that was supposed to be a private DM to Pam Bondi and insisted, he demanded that she indict his enemies. Letitia James, James Comey, John Bolton. And like 5 days later, John Bolton got raided, James Comey and Letitia James got indicted. Okay, he doesn't care about optics, fucktard. He would jail any Democrat he could. They just have to break the law first. I wish Merrick Garland cared less about optics and would have made it so that Trump could never be fucking president again. But he's a pussy. You too, Labo. Hey, what's up, Kramer? How you doing, brother? Joe, hello, my friend. Sorry you are stuck with MAGA. Me too, Joe. Me too. Yeah, I dislike that my utilities went up 50%. Wow, did they really go up 50%? Holy shit. I'm feeling pretty good, thank you. You seem to be a little more calm today. You were hot to trot yesterday. I had to leave alone, respectfully speaking. Oh, I had to leave you alone, respectfully speaking. Oh, yeah, no, it's all good. It's aggravating dealing with these people. You know what I mean? It's very, very aggravating. It's tough. You're dealing with the stupidest people in the country, every day. Can't afford a home to start a family, but government can abuse kids. And that's some shit, John. And the billionaires keep getting more and more tax breaks. You must be an idiot. Well, in that case, Pamela, you must be a whore. There you go. We're assuming shit about each other. Well, I'll tell you what, Pamela. Anytime you want to debate me, I'll give you the phone number. You can call in and do that. Yeah, spare change. Maybe in 2029. Thanks, Nick. 1,000 products plus says Trump thumbs up. You're aggravating. Why is that, Adrian? 143 to 286. Yeah, ours is something like it's outrageous. My wife told me the other day, because I just put the money in the bank. She pays the fucking bills, and it was some extraordinary amount that it's never been before. I just filed my taxes for Pam Bondi to lie under oath. Yeah, that's some shit. That's what she does, the lousy pig that she is. I worked with my family in the paving and engineering business in the 1960s. Mr. Trump was a tool. We used to get jobs done. He is still the same now. Dr. Mark J. Masser. I believe you. I believe you 100%. Well, I don't know, casual gamer. Tell me who broke what laws. Well, again, don't just say the Dems broke laws, and then when I say what laws, you say, so you're saying they didn't break laws. Tell me what laws they broke, and if you're right, I'll agree with you. Are you kidding? I wouldn't ride her into battle. You're talking about Pam Bondi? That's one way to say it. No, he is a great president. Nothing you dislike about him, huh? Interesting. How fast would the penny come back if Trump was told he could put himself on it? In overnight. Overnight. Anywhere he could slap his name. Most insecure man on planet Earth. More low IQ leftists. That's kind of like it's like Bigfoot, you know? You don't find those too often. I'll give it to Bondi. She looks good for 60. Oh, John. I don't know, man. With that voice, she could look like fucking Jessica Biel. And that fucking voice would just, you know what I mean? Oh, God. I couldn't imagine a worse voice on a woman other than maybe Kristi Noem. Trump, worst president ever. Agreed. I'm a Republican and proud of it. I bet you are, Pamela. And if Democrats broke laws, we'll lock them up. We don't worship politicians. 100%. Look, a casual, whatever his name is, went away. It's funny. I asked him to tell me which laws and got nothing. Barack Obama the butcher. What does that mean? Could you explain that to me? He's not right-wing enough. Could you imagine? The guy's a goddamn Nazi. He's not right-wing enough. You're an idiot. You should get help for your TDS. My tremendous dick syndrome? Listen, man. It served me well throughout my life. I see no reason to for any kind of reduction. You don't like my stupid ass glasses or my ball fucking head? My ball head? Interesting. She's more of a woman you can handle. Do you mean then you can handle? Yeah, right. Pam Bondi is ridiculous. She is. Did you see the other day? She had her fucking script. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna get down in the mud with her theatrics. And it's like she kept saying that no matter who she was being questioned by. I'm not gonna get down in the mud with him with his theatrics. Like they must have, trained her to say that over and over again. She did. It was funny. For any of us private citizens, if you had felony convictions, you would be so limited. So when a guy has 24 felony convictions, how does he become president? Somebody wanted him there. 34. Yeah. It's funny. I always say, like, convicted felons, you can't even be in a house with a gun, even if it doesn't belong to you. But Donald Trump can be surrounded by them. Although they did take his guns from Mar-a-Lago after he was convicted. Yeah, I know, Pepper Moon. How far back do you want to go? Hillary's illegal server that the FBI colluded behind closed doors to not charge her? Well, casual gamer, tell me this. So you're talking about just a few years before Trump became president, right? I don't even know if it was a few years, a couple of years. And Trump was in control of the FBI and the DOJ. Now, he chanted, lock her up at every rally. So if she broke a law, what happened? Trump's just like, no, I'm not going to do that. Trump would lock Hillary Clinton up today if he could. The fact that you don't see him for the vindictive, spiteful prick that he is, the fact that he literally locks up any or tries to lock up any of his enemies he can, it shows me how delusional you are. She is spare change. You have to be MAGA. Trump is disgusting and evil and corrupt and a narcissistic gangster who is a selfish SOB who only thinks of his own wallet. And he's the puppeteer cult with his puppets. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, JD Vance, in your wildest fucking dreams, maybe, yeah. The fucking guy has no charisma whatsoever. Even Fox News said he's not a good choice. Bro, you're a traitor, plain and simple. Trump has no honest convictions. Well, there's no such thing as dishonest convictions. There's all types of safeguards in place to make sure, like judges and prosecutors and stuff. There's a pecking order, so to speak. So if law enforcement charges you with something, the prosecutor sees if it's legit, if the charges are going to go forward, then puts it in front of a judge, and then it's up to the judge. And then there's a jury, of course, and a jury of 12 people who were, handpicked by Trump's lawyers as well as the prosecutors, said that he's guilty. So you just can't admit the guy's wrong. But I'm no traitor. I love this country. I just hate you. You know what I mean? You guys are traitors. I mean, you tried to overturn a free and fair election. You're traitors. That's it. You don't care about the Constitution. I mean, there's nothing American about you. That's right. 34, yet nobody can name one. 34 counts of falsifying business records in order to cover up another crime, the crime of which being basically campaign finance laws, election interference, things like that. It's the hush money payment was paid to keep information from the voting public, the general public. And Trump would definitely call that election interference if he called editing a video with an interview with Kamala, like every news station does in every interview. If he calls that election interference, then yeah, paying off a porn star to keep information from the public and then falsifying business records 34 times to cover up that crime, yeah, that's a problem. So how about that? Oh, criminal, Jasper, criminal. It's funny when you guys say, but nobody can name one, and then there I go. You mean the same way how there we go. Here's the whataboutism. How Joe Biden was when he used the DOJ and a little help from Larry Fink to his attention to attempt to assassinate Trump. Wow. So you mean that one kid, Thomas Taylor Crooks, I believe was his name, that was looking up all types of political rallies on his computer to find out when they're taking place and where, so he could just assassinate somebody? You mean that Joe Biden did that? You would think, I'm going to tell you what, a red hood forever. You would think if they were going to go that far as to try to Trump, then they would get it right. I mean, Joe Biden was the commander in chief, right? You're talking about the military, the most elite snipers and everything in the world. Yeah, it was just a kid. It was a kid who was raised by a MAGA family. Trump did nothing wrong. Not in your eyes, I'm sure. Why are they all saying why are they even saying he pardoned hundreds of real criminals? I don't know what you mean. We know 2020 was stolen now. No, you don't. No, you don't. It would be the headline news all day, every day. Trump wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. It's all you'd hear about. And of course, there would be official news that yes, this definitely happened, but there is none. You know what's so funny is you guys will tell me all day to get over Trump, but you still insist on convincing yourselves and everybody else that the 2020 election was stolen. You still can't get over the fact that your boy got mollywopped. You can't. How's it a grift? Do you know what a grift is? I'll tell you what a grift is. A grift is like having union workers build your buildings and then just refusing to pay them. Who did that again? What was that? Oh yeah, Donald Trump. A grift is selling cell phones, gold-plated cell phones with the name Trump on them, and taking hundreds of dollars from 500,000 fucking people and then never sending them the phones. That's a grift. Talking about a guy on YouTube, that's called a YouTube channel. You stupid motherfucker, you. I don't even know what you're talking about, but what election was fixed? And where's your proof of it? Do I like anything about that? Fuck no. I would never. About a pedophile? No. I could never like anything about a pedophile or a rapist or both. No fucking way. More votes than people. Explain. Okay, I'll explain. You're wrong. Watch this. How many people are there in the United States?
The estimated population of the United States is over 342 million people as of early 2026.
How many people voted in the 2020 election?
Here is information from Wikipedia.
How many people voted in the 2020 election in comparison to how many registered voters there are in America? Oh, fuck you. I can't believe I got to explain life to somebody else. How many registered voters were there in 2020 and how many voted in the 2020 presidential election? In the 2020, here you go. In the U.S., in the 2020 U.S. presidential election, approximately 168.31 million people were registered to vote. You hear that? 168.31 million were registered to vote. Out of these, a record-breaking 158, you hear that? 158.43 million people cast ballots for president. So listen, Amber, when you hear something like that sounds that absurd, tell me how it is that you don't say to yourself, okay, I'd sound like a retard just going around and repeating this, because even to me, it doesn't make sense. So maybe I'll do a simple, I don't know, Google search and see if it's true. That's the thing about you guys. That's why I could sell you magic beans. I know I could, because you guys will, if you hear something that fits your bullshit narrative, you'll just go around repeating it like the fucktards that you are with no proof whatsoever. I mean, how could there be more votes than people, you dope? 10 million missing votes. Yeah, right. You wish. Where? You know, some guy the other day I was debating, he came on and he said there was maybe that was, no. It was 10,000, I think, something like that. Some guy, some U.S. postal worker was caught crossing the Canadian border with 10,000 ballots. And I wasn't aware of this story. So I'm like, really? So then I checked it out, and it turned out that the U.S. postal worker had 3 ballots, and 3, not 10,000. And there was some reason for it. I don't remember. Let's talk about the dozens of Trump election lawsuits that were dropped because of lack of evidence. Yeah. About 60 of them. Yep. Also, Mike Lindell poured millions. He lost everything trying to prove the 2020 election was stolen, and nope. Came up with nothing. Donald Trump hired a firm to make sure there was no fraud in 2020. When they came back with nothing, he fired them. Elon Musk, could you imagine what that fucktard would do to try to prove the 2020 election was stolen? And he has more money than anybody in the world. He's not even trying. You know why? Because Donald Trump always knew he lost, guys. The only people that didn't know Trump lost are you guys. And that's because you listen to Trump. And all Trump has to say is, I didn't lose. And you guys are like, that's it. He didn't lose. If the world's most well-documented pathological liar said he didn't lose, we're definitely going to believe him. Well, you're wrong about that, Joe. We could have that debate, absolutely, about Biden's presidency versus Trump's, and we could go back and forth with policies, Kamala's and Trump's for 2024. No problem. I'll have that conversation with you all day. No, you didn't prove it, Trent. If you proved it, something would have had to have happened. You know, it's all coming out. Sure it is, Trent. It's, in a way, I'm not gonna lie, man. Yeah, Fox News paid out a defamation. These motherfuckers. Fox News paid the largest defamation settlement in American history for saying the election was stolen. $787 million fucking dollars. Tucker Carlson got fired for lying about it. Everything. I'm gonna tell you though. There's a guy. Gosh, Kamala laughter makes you say, yeah, you're right, Jasper. I mean, Trump being a full-blown pedophile, that's acceptable. But fucking Kamala's laugh, that's a deal breaker. You know what I mean? We definitely want a pedophile rapist in the White House, but not a bitch with a goofy laugh. That would be crossing the line. You're a fucking moron, Jasper. So anyway, you guys, voter machine data was deleted just after the election, which should have stayed for 7 years. Well, I guarantee you it either wasn't or it wasn't supposed to stay for 7 years. And if you give me the specific, like what you're talking about exactly, because I don't know that story, I'll look it up right now and I guarantee I'll prove it wrong. Guarantee it. Yeah. The pedos are on the right. Tell me what Democrats are in the Epstein files accused of, other than Bill Clinton, accused of hurting young girls. Because I can tell you Steve Bannon is, Howard Nutlick is, Elon Musk is, Donald Trump is. So go ahead, tell me. Please prove he's a pedo. I'll show you a video in a little while and prove it. He looked at a 10-year-old girl and said, I'll be dating her in 10 years. That's proof he's a pedo. It means he found the 10-year-old attractive. He's been accused multiple times now, 4 or 5 times of raping 13-year-old girls. And one of them was just found out 2 days ago to be a very credible accusation. Very credible, because the girl he supposedly raped at 13, she wound up suing the Epstein estate in 2016. And in 2020, she got a huge settlement of millions of dollars. So obviously she has evidence of her claims. When she was interviewing with the FBI asked her about some pictures she had, and she asked if she could crop someone out of it. That someone was Donald Trump. And when they asked why she wants to crop him out, she said she was scared. She wants to go forward with the Epstein stuff, not Trump, because of you animals. Just like Katie Johnson, she withdrew her lawsuit because as soon as she filed it, she started getting her life threatened and her house vandalized and everything else, because you guys are sick in the head and you'll kill for a guy who doesn't give 2 shits about you. You know? Voting for a guy who went bankrupt 6 times to fix the economy is an immediate failure on a reasoning test. For real, man. Trump 2028. Yeah, except that's not possible. Of course. Trump is a beast. If by beast you mean pedophile, yeah. What about Jeffries? Jeffries, well, like took some campaign money and maybe a phone call from him or something? What is Jeffries accused of exactly? And I don't even like Hakeem Jeffries, but what's he accused of? Yeah, oh yeah. Then he gets to run against Obama. We'll see how that goes for good old Donnie boy. Yeah, well, Tara Reid was also found to be mentally ill, and that's why the case went nowhere. If you look up that case, you'll see that for years in interviews and stuff, she said how nice it was to work for Joe Biden. And in that office, it was extremely comfortable and she felt safe. She said that, dozens of times throughout the years. Then in 2020, all of a sudden, she changed her mind and she was SA'd by, actually, she didn't even say SA'd, I think. I think she said he made her feel uncomfortable. He maybe tried something or some shit like that. And she had a couple of people corroborate her story. The only problem is every time she and those people told the story, it changed. So they did some digging and found out that this woman is documented lying multiple times throughout her life about her entire life story. She's a pathological liar and obviously mentally ill because she ran off to Russia. And that's why nothing happened with Tara Reid. Nothing. So. Man, Lucky Charm. There's only one thing I could think of. Well, I think a moron's worse, Jasper. What kind of comeback is that? Most of the pedophiles are Democrats. Why do they like to see little boys in dresses? They don't. Tell me what Democrats are pedos. I'll wait. Let me see if that's even true. And if so, why? Did Detroit have a precinct with more votes than voters in 2020? Let's see. Claim there are far more votes in Detroit than people. AP's assessment, false. Guys, I swear to God, you know nothing. Around 250,000 votes were cast in Detroit in the 2020 election, which is less than half of Detroit's population. The false posts appeared to refer to out-of-balance precincts where the number of names recorded in poll books does not match the number of ballots counted. The facts. On Tuesday, false posts on social media claimed that there were more votes reported than people in Detroit, a majority black city and Democratic stronghold. False claims swirled after the Wayne County Board of Canvassers, which includes Detroit, certified election results showing Democrat Joe Biden defeating President Donald Trump. How did Wayne County of Detroit, Michigan, have more votes than people registered to vote? One Twitter user posted on Tuesday. President Donald Trump also tweeted the false claim about Detroit while falsely stating he won in the state of Michigan. In Detroit, there are far more votes, in all capitals, than people. Nothing can be done to cure that giant scam. I win Michigan. See, guys, you got to stop believing Donald Trump. But there were not more votes cast in Detroit than there are people. According to an unofficial election According to unofficial election results on the city of Detroit's website on November 5th, there were 250,138 votes cast and 504,714 registered voters. Detroit has an estimated population of 670,000. Anyone else? You line them up. I'll knock them down. I'm telling you, man, at some point, guys, you have got to learn something. You have to. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take. Are you guys allergic to research? Everything and every day that you guys come in here and say it's complete bullshit. Tell me more. Tell me your proof that Trump is a pedo. Well, I just told you there was in the Epstein files, there is a girl who complained to the FBI that a friend of hers, when she was 13 years old, was forced to give oral sex to Donald Trump. Okay. And then she bit him apparently during the act. And afterwards she laughed about it. And, you know, he hit her in the face. Right. She said Jeffrey Epstein was also there. Well, some journalists investigated and they found out that this woman sued, like I said, the lawsuit from earlier, sued the Epstein estate and won millions of dollars in 2020. So they were curious and they started trying to find out if any of the victims in the files match this woman who won this lawsuit, any of the details about the victim. And sure enough, the victim had a criminal record with 2 charges on it. And so did the girl who was named in the complaint. And then they compared some other biographical information and they found out that, yes, it is without a doubt the same girl. The girl that bit Donald Trump is the girl that won a fuck ton of money in a lawsuit against Epstein. That means she has proof of it. And now that they've figured this out, all we could do is hope she comes out. But also, now you could say this isn't proof, but let me tell you something. If a guy is accused of something enough times, he did it. Okay, period. He did it. Donald Trump was accused of sexual assault 28 times not since he started running for president. Since the 1970s, he settled lawsuits for sexual assault in his past in the 80s. In 1989, his wife said in court filings that he brutally raped her once. In 1996, he was accused of raping a 13-year-old Katie Johnson with Epstein. He was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 10 years. He's in videos with Epstein, photos with Epstein. And he said in 2000, he's a great guy to be with. It's even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Now, when you're talking about a pedophile, you're not talking about 18-year-olds. You're talking about children. Okay. Then in 2006, Trump made a call to the police after Epstein got in trouble, and the investigation became public after. And he said, thank goodness you got him. You know, we all knew about his crimes for years. So that's Trump admitting that he knew Epstein was a pedophile even throughout their friendship. Okay. But he never did anything about it. What he said to the cop next was, by the way, I was in a room with him and some teenage girls, but I got out of there right away. So that explains why he made the phone call to begin with. He was afraid Epstein was going to rat him out. The only other thing he said is focus on Ghislaine. She's pure evil. We have videos of him speaking about basically wanting to fuck his own daughter. One of them, he says she has a very beautiful figure. I've often said if she wasn't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. There's another one from Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous where he's asked what Tiffany, his 4-year-old daughter, has in common with her mother, Marla. And he said she's got her legs. She didn't say, oh, her eyes, her nose, her haircut. Nope. She has her legs. We don't know if she has this yet. So he's speculating about the size of his 4-year-old daughter's titties, what they're going to turn out to be. There's also clips where he said, he was on The View, him and Ivanka, because he used to love that show. And Ivanka was asked, what are 2 things you have in common with your father? And she said, real estate and golf. And then they said, Donald, what is something you have in common with your daughter? And he said, well, I was going to say sex, but I can't really relate that. Now, you just said sex, and why would you say that? Why would that come to any father's mind, sex? What does that even mean? Okay? Then he called his daughter voluptuous on Howard Stern. That means curvy and attractive. And he said it was okay for Howard Stern to call her a piece of ass. All right? He was accused, credibly, of walking in on 3 naked 15-year-old girls at a Miss Teen USA beauty pageant and then bragged about doing that exact thing on Howard Stern in detail. He said how he did it, why he did it, how he could get away with it. Okay, I could go on forever, guys. He was found civilly liable of sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll. Now the Epstein files, he's named 1 million times in the unredacted Epstein files, and I'm not exaggerating, 1 million times. And there's multiple accusations of him raping 13-year-old girls or forcing them to perform oral sex. One of the times, Bill Clinton was even with him. So that's just some of it. Oh, yeah. Then there's, of course, the Entertainment Tonight clip where he looked at the 10-year-old girl on the escalator and said, I'll be dating her in 10 years. Also, Michael Cohen's daughter came out and said that Trump was hitting on her when she was 15 years old. You need more or what? And they'll just be like, nope, not enough, not enough. Meanwhile, if somebody said 1/10 of that about Obama, you'd be like, motherfucker, he's a pedophile. 100%, no doubt about it. It's funny, you guys will believe anything you hear. If it fits your narrative. But if it doesn't, we could show you all the proof in the world. You don't believe it. It was a joke. You are disingenuous as fuck. I don't know what you're talking about. What was a joke? And how am I disingenuous? Tell me how. I'm in the thick of it. Everybody knows they want, they know me. When it snows, I skid in the front. Okie doke. Well, your symbol is a stormtrooper, so you know you're on the wrong side. What? Are you talking about my avatar? Where do you see a stormtrooper anywhere on my channel? What in the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, you do, Joe. As long as it fits your narrative, you'll believe it with no evidence, like the Detroit thing and the 2020 election thing. But then we could show you tons of evidence of some shit that's true, and you'll be like, nope, because it doesn't fit your narrative. You don't believe it. Trump's calendar parties, that's another accusation. It's just disgusting. Steve Blair, you think I gave him enough examples? Just block the people that are spamming the chat with that snow shit, whatever they're talking about. Trump was your boy till 2016. This isn't about Trump. It's about him becoming a Republican. That's your only problem. No. You don't know me, and you can't tell me that. I grew up in New York, and everybody who grew up in New York in the 80s and 90s fucking despised Donald Trump. He was known to be a slumlord. That's what he was known as. He was known as the guy that would throw old ladies out in the street. He was in the tabloids every day because of all his various affairs, fucking different women behind his wife's back and everything else. He was a lowlife his whole, there was never a day of my life where I thought Trump was even a decent person. It's the exact opposite. You didn't know shit about him until The Apprentice. And then all of a sudden you were like, wow, this guy's awesome. Or you didn't know shit about him until he said the first black president wasn't an American citizen. And you said, man, I like this guy. And then he said Mexicans are rapists. And you were like, wow, I got to get a picture of him in my bedroom. You know, let's be honest. 5'4" and bald, man, we ain't the only ones that hate you. Oh, yeah, who else hates me? And let me ask you something, Michael. This is what I mean about you guys. You just say what you want to say with no proof. Michael, have you ever seen me standing up? Like, how do you know I'm 5'4"? Could you tell me that? I'm curious. Yeah, right. I'll debate any one of you motherfuckers right now. Guarantee it. I'll demolish you. Trump was never arrested until he turned Republican. 94 fake charges, 2 impeachments, and he's still winning. He's not winning. You think he's winning. He's doing everything he can to cheat because he knows he's going to get mollywopped in the midterms. He lost to women, or he won to women only. That's it. He never even won against a man. A man mollywopped him 7 million votes. He only beat Kamala by 2 million. Joe Biden beat him by 7. And they're not 94 fake charges. We saw him commit the crimes with our own eyes. I have the phone calls on YouTube. I played it many times. He called Raffensperger. I need you to find me 11,000 votes. Raffensperger said, we did recounts. We did audits. There's no more vote. No. I need you to find me 11,000 votes. If he didn't get elected, he was going to be convicted of that just a few weeks before he was supposed to take office. Plus, the falsifying business records were proven in a court of law. So was the civil, lawsuit about sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll and all the other crimes. If Merrick Garland had balls, Donald Trump would not be able to have run for president. He wouldn't have been able to run for president again in 2024. But he didn't. I believe the victims too. Should. Yes, I don't agree with everything he said or done, but overall he's been a great president. You guys, are you serious when you say shit like that? Could you guys tell me, like, seriously, your favorite Trump policy? And just let me let you know, trans and border are not policies. Tell me your favorite Trump policy. No, they're not all unverified. Nope. Not anymore. I'll debate you right now, Rays. Any one of you. It's the other way around. You won't debate me. 410-941-9850. Let's do it. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like and subscribe. And if you wouldn't mind throwing a super chat into the mix or something, that's always good. He's the best president ever. 154 presidential scholars said he's the worst. But yeah, we'll take your word for it, Saul. Trans and border are 100% policies. No, they're not policies. They're not policies. So I asked you, what are the policies? Lower taxes, less government. What's the policy, Sean Fields? What policy is that? Explain. No. It's not simple because you can't name one, Heather. Name a Donald Trump policy. This is not a policy, Sean Field. What's the policy behind the lower taxes and less government? Are you out of your fucking mind? There's never been more government and more people's fucking business than there is right now. The guy yet again censored Stephen Colbert last night. He's fucking with talk show hosts now. He's infringed on freedom of speech 1,000 different ways, even the Second Amendment now. He's spoken about, violating the 22nd Amendment and the 12th Amendment, but he loves to plead the 5th Amendment, I don't know, man. I think it's that, I give this theory on every show, but I like doing it because it pisses them off, and I believe it's true. You know this, Labo. I've said it a million times. I think these are people that have never been much in life, and Donald Trump is he became their hero and identity, and they can't give him up because if they do, what do they got left? People who support Trump also fuck their sisters and marry their cousins. Very true. How come Hillary Clinton didn't run again? Well, obviously because she chose not to, right? Otherwise she would have. You know that all she's got to do is decide I'm going to run again, and then she can run again. Dude, anytime, what's up with the bald dome look? You look creepy as fuck. I hate to say you remind me of a Nightbot. Well, I don't know what a Nightbot is. I'm assuming that's something only incels know about, but Rocky's event, let me tell you something. You know what's funny about you guys? Nothing. That's just it. I could bring you up on screen. You show your face, and I could roast you to death into the ground with the wittiest, most clever shit you ever heard. The best you guys have for me is, oh, look, he's bald. Meanwhile, I'm one of, tens of millions of men that are bald? Yeah, that's insane. Who's ever seen a bald guy before? Look at this guy. I can't believe it. He's bald. You know how stupid you sound? Oh, my God. And what is a Nightbot? Jesus, get off the computer, man. Go out and get some pussy or something if you can. You can't take out stopping the woke train and the border as policy. I mean, it's a hell of a reason. Well, I don't know what stopping the woke train means, but in no way, shape, or form did he do that. The president doesn't have the power to change societal issues that way. You know, the way the world is going in a direction that Trump cannot change. He doesn't have that kind of power. And as far as border policy, what is the policy? That's what I'm saying, guys. A policy is like the bipartisan border deal that Biden tried to get passed and Trump made the Republicans shot down. That was a policy to fix things at the border, to hire 1,000 more immigration judges, to fund, increase funding for Customs and Border Control and ICE and things like that. Donald Trump signed an executive order to close the border. That's not a policy. That's it. And it wasn't even open to begin with, but these people started talking about policies in 2024. No, Heather, I think that's when you started listening. Democrats, guys, do you know that most of the stuff in this country that we, enjoy on a daily basis are Democrat policies? Do you know that? Medicare and Medicaid are Democrat policies. Social Security is a Democrat policy. Unemployment coverage is a Democrat policy. The 40-hour work week, getting paid time and a half after 40 hours is a Democrat policy. Most our infrastructure in this country are because of Democrat policies. I mean, you guys just don't know anything. Paid family leave, Democrat policy. Child tax credit, Democrat policy. Earned income credit, Democrat policy. During Biden's term, he did the American Rescue Plan, which gave all of you and myself stimulus checks. He did the Inflation Reduction Act, which created 750,000 manufacturing jobs. He did the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which I'm assuming you'd like if you like roads and bridges. He did the PACT Act, which increased funding to the VA specifically for veterans who were affected by burn pits in Afghanistan. He did the CHIPS and Science Act, which was fantastic and created fuck tons of jobs in America. He brought down Trump's 6.6% unemployment rate that Trump that left office with to 3.4% and kept it under 4%, lower than any president or any time period in American history. And by the way, that 3.4% was a 54-year low. He created 16.6 million jobs in 4 years. So far, Trump has created 181,000 in just over a year. I mean, you guys just don't know anything. You don't even know that that you guys that the things you enjoy the most in this world are because of Democratic policies. You don't even know that the Republicans want to do away with all that. They want to take away Social Security. They want to take away health care. They want to change how time and a half pay is structured so you don't have to be paid like. I'll give this example. It's in Project 2025. They floated the idea of changing how time and a half is paid. This is the Republicans, and this is Donald Trump's playbook for this term. He's already implemented a lot of the shit in Project 2025, and he doesn't even deny it anymore. One of the things is they want to restructure the way time and a half is paid because the Republicans' whole job in office is to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. Okay? So they were considering, instead of getting paid time and a half after 40 hours in 1 week, you get paid time and a half over 80 hours in a period of 2 weeks. So in other words, your job could say, listen, we need you 60 hours this week, but we only need you 20 hours next week. That's a total of 80 hours. So even though you work 20 hours overtime the first week, you don't get $1 in time and a half pay. They want to do stuff like that. They're anti-union. I mean, you don't even know. You guys are so ass backwards. You don't even know anything about politics. You don't know anything about Trump. You don't know anything about Biden. It's amazing. Everything you guys come in here and say, I prove wrong. Yeah. Worst numbers ever by a president. Yep. And, again, and I say this on every show because I have to bring it up, because I don't think you guys know this either. You guys live in the poorest, sickest, least educated states in the country. Liberal states are the most well-educated, wealthiest states, and they're always, way up there in healthcare. Like Massachusetts is number one in healthcare. Conservatives live in the stupidest, poorest states with the highest rates of violent crime in the entire country, and you keep voting for Republicans, and that goes to show you don't know anything about politics, because if you did, you wouldn't have been voting against your best interests for the last 50 fucking years. You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump, his shitty policies are negatively affecting your states, not our states. You don't even know that either. I mean, when he refused to extend the ACA subsidies, for example, 24 million people could lose their health insurance. Now, you guys already got rural hospitals closing in all your red states because he kicked 17 million people off of Medicare or whatever. Okay, now 24 million people might lose their health insurance, most likely will, and that's going to result in more hospitals closing, specifically in areas like where you guys live. I don't even think you realize that. Matter of fact, I know you don't. And 350,000 nurses are projected to lose their jobs this year. That's all thanks to Donald Trump. You don't even know anything. No, how about we talk about this, Jasper? Because we're on this subject. See what they got to do. Whataboutism. What about Newsom? You blame everything in California on Newsom? Okay, then you got to blame everything in the U.S. on Donald Trump. It's your own logic I'm using against you. That's a failure of Obamacare, not Trump. Well, it wasn't a failure because 24 million people have health insurance because of it. And that's only now. Over the years, I can't even imagine how many people have had health insurance because of it. It wasn't a failure. That's why they want to get rid of it so fucking bad, because God forbid Obama has a win, Exactly. And that's thanks to Trump and the Republicans. No. I haven't convinced myself. Bro, you hear me speak? Compare the way I speak to the shit you guys put in comments. I'm educated on this shit. I'm well researched. I know my shit. That's why none of you would dare call in and debate me at 410-941-9850 right now. Because every time one of you do, I fucking humiliate you. Because you don't know anything. Okay, what's the real truth? Tell me, Jasper. I'm going to go to the bottom. What's the real truth? All the pedophile rapists running to defend Donald Trump. Well, they look out for their own. Yeah. It was initially Mitt Romney's plan. Yeah. They don't know that either. You know what I mean? Oh, Trash Channel. They will. They would. If Trump told them tomorrow, drink poison Kool-Aid, they would do it in a heartbeat. It's no lie. They're going to be like, oh, you're crazy. Wait, guys, there is nothing that man couldn't make you do. He fucking lied to you about the election, and he got a whole fuck ton of years locked up. Sure, he pardoned you, but a lot of people were in jail for years because of his lie that the election was stolen. You know, I mean, you guys, we thought, because you guys were the ones bitching for years about the Epstein files. The Epstein files. We want to see the Epstein files. There's a cabal of Democrat elites in the Epstein files that are raping kids in a pizza parlor basement and all this shit. For years, you didn't shut the fuck up about it. Soon as you realized Trump is covering it up, you were like, man, fuck those Epstein files. Who cares? And now you'll defend him even though it's as plain as day the guy's a pedo. You have to be retarded not to acknowledge that or not to know it. And then we thought, okay, so they're all for pedophilia now too. Holy shit, the one line we thought they would cross. All right, there's one line left, the Second Amendment. Nope. He said, you shouldn't be at a protest with a gun. And you guys are like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're the Second Amendment people. But if Trump says we shouldn't be practicing our First Amendment right while practicing our Second Amendment right, then he's right. Oh, my God. You guys are suckers, man. You guys are suckers. Listen, man, guys, I'm just being full disclosure with you guys. I like doing these shows, but I got to make money on them. I don't make money off of views, so I got to get super chats and stuff like that. If you guys could contribute, that would be great. Otherwise, I'm probably going to end the show very, very shortly because I don't like to hang out on YouTube for free. Just personally, it's not my thing. Like who, Durant? Tell me who. You see how they put broad statements? And then I ask, like, who? And you think he's going to name anyone? Who, Durant? Tell me. Yeah. No, we didn't say the Epstein files were conspiracy theory. We said your conspiracy theory about the Epstein files was a conspiracy theory. We knew it wasn't a fucking Democrat cabal of, of elites running a fucking, I just said it a second ago, a pedo ring out of a pizza parlor basement. And guess what? We were right. We didn't believe the Epstein files were conspiracy theory. We thought your QAnon ridiculous idiot conspiracy theories were. Well, how much of that's going on, Brian? Can you give me numbers? Or are you just saying that? My stepson is in school, and my wife is she's a nurse. She's working. Well, he was, and that's not how you spell concealed, dopey. He was. He did. There's not a single law he broke while he was carrying that gun. He didn't resist arrest. He didn't fight with the police. He didn't do anything. He tried to help a woman who just got pepper sprayed, and they started kicking the shit out of him. Then one agent took the gun and ran off with it, and another agent shot him in the head, and then they lit him up. So you can't name the crime he was committing because he wasn't committing any. He had a hell of a lot more right to be where he was than Kyle Rittenhouse did. Here, let me show you guys something. This guy will explain it to you. He's real good at this. Let me get the comment off the screen first, because, yeah, do you know why, Brian Welch? Do you have any idea why Biden didn't release the files? Because I got news for you, Brian. Somebody else didn't release the files before Biden. His name was Trump. He had the files for years, and he didn't release them. So why is that? Here, guys.
All right, look, I'm not sure why you're all overcomplicating it. It's really quite simple. You can come to a protest, but not if you're bringing a gun, unless it's for protection, but not protection from people with guns. You can attack people holding skateboards for reacting to you holding a gun, but not the people holding guns reacting to you holding your phone. Because being underage shooting a gun you didn't legally purchase equals concerned citizen. But being an adult with a permit for a gun you've responsibly concealed equals domestic terrorist. Even if we only see it after we've already shoved you to the ground, which retroactively changes the reason we shoved you to the ground. Clearly, the teenager who shot people deserves a podcast, and the ICU nurse trying to help people avoid pepper spray is an agitator, because we have a zero tolerance policy for disobeying uniformed officers that goes all the way back to January 7th, 2021. And remember, they're only in Minneapolis to secure the border because of Somalia. Glad we cleared that up, because so many of you in the media have been focused on the wrong things. Now, I am happy to take any questions you have about the president's ballroom.
The funny part is MAGA probably didn't even get half the jokes in that. They're not too swift. Yeah, you mean one person? That chick, forget her name, the one woman, and it wasn't phone calls; it was text messages. So one Democrat, and they had absolutely nothing to do with pedophilia, nothing. And by the way, I think she's an asshole. I think anybody who associated with Epstein was. But bottom line is, you can't take one guy who's accused numerous times of raping girls with Epstein, then take another person who once or twice text messaged with them and say they're the same. You understand? Why didn't Demotrash release the files? So gay. Biden's DOJ had the files, fake Russia hoax. And it wasn't a fake Russia hoax. And 2 fake impeachments. They weren't fake impeachments. Otherwise, he wouldn't be impeached. Like, I'll give you an example. Trump was impeached twice. Biden wasn't impeached once. And they wanted to. They tried everything to impeach him, and they couldn't do it. So that goes to show you they weren't fake impeachments. Now, you tell me, why didn't Trump release them? And I'll tell you why Biden didn't release them. You have my word. Because Trump had them first, guys. You know how disingenuous it is to say, why didn't Biden release them when Trump had them first and didn't release them? Tell me why. The Russia shit was not a proven hoax. They never said that he did not collude with Russia. Never. They never said that. It was never stated. And many, many people went to prison because of the Russia investigation. Biden, the auto pen. Okay, I don't know what that's about, but Biden signed a total of 80 full pardons. The rest were acts of clemency. Okay, so they're groups, large groups of people, people that have the death penalty and stuff, give them life without parole instead of the death penalty, shit like that. 80 full pardons. And Joe Biden never said that somebody used the auto pen without his, because you can use the auto pen to sign pardons. It just has to be authorized by the president. And Biden never said, not once, that he doesn't know who was pardoned or they did it without his permission. Although Donald Trump, who pardoned 1,600 people in one day with an auto pen, did say on 60 Minutes months ago, when they asked him about the CZ of Binance, giving him $2 billion and then Trump giving him a pardon, and why he did that, he said, you ready? I don't know who the guy is. I don't know anything about it. That's an auto pen situation, just so you know. Trump fought with MTG because she signed to get them released. Yep. And Lauren Boebert. Yep. Biden had the files, not Trump, but nice try. Why didn't Trump have the files? What do you mean? Jeffrey Epstein's first case was in 2006 or something, I believe. And he got busted with Ghislaine in 2019. So that means all of the files he had, at least until 2021. So why didn't he release them? God almighty, you don't know when Trump was president, you dope? So why didn't Trump release them? Yeah, but don't tell him. Don't tell him. I want to see what they say. I went to a Trump rally in Atlanta. I voted for him 3 times. Sorry to hear that, man. What other bad decisions have you made in your life, Melissa? Yeah, but that had nothing to do with Trump. It had nothing to do with Trump whatsoever. He just happened to get busted then. And Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted under Joe Biden. The Democrats could not release the files because there was an active, all right, fuck it, case going on dealing with Ghislaine Maxwell. It wasn't until the case was dismissed that they were able to finally release. Well, this is what it was. And of course, Trump could have released the files in his first term if Biden could have. But the bottom line is neither of them could. And I'll tell you why. Because the bust happened, the big one in 2019. That's when Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine was being prosecuted. Also, for years, meaning 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 23, 24, The FBI was still receiving tips, and there was ongoing investigations, including Maxwell got convicted in 2021 and immediately went on appeal and was on appeal until January of 2024. So the entire time Biden was in office, just like the last 2 years Trump was in office, they couldn't release the files. Then in 2025, Pam Bondi said the Epstein case is closed. And right then, it became okay to release the files. You understand? And then Donald Trump did everything in his power and is still doing everything in his power to cover up the files, to the point where he refused to release the files. So they had to create a law called the Epstein Files Transparency Act. That's the only reason anything was released so far. And there's still 3 million more records that they refuse to release. You know, Todd Blanche, the deputy attorney general, and also Donald Trump's ex-defense attorney. Why were the women victims, but Ghislaine is a perp? Because Ghislaine was his partner. Ghislaine was raping the girls with him. You don't know that? Do you guys know anything about the Epstein files? Holy shit. Are you serious? Ghislaine was literally the woman that would get the girls, the teenage girls, and groom them, and then fucking tell them, hey, like Virginia Giuffre, they got from Mar-a-Lago, Trump's place, and they said, hey, if you're willing to come back to this house and give some guys some massages, you can make really good money. And these were all poor girls from the other side of Palm Beach and girls that were runaways and stuff like that. And then they'd go there, they'd wind up having sex, which was not in their plans. And then Ghislaine would tell them, well, listen, if you can get 2 more girls, we'll pay you for them, plus we'll pay those 2 girls. And then they just kept going and going and going. And there was over 1,000 Epstein victims. Trump must have been covering for Clinton. Clinton, the guy that Trump would give anything to lock up. Matter of fact, let me tell you something. Donald Trump is trying so hard to deflect attention from himself. The first tranche of Epstein files we got a couple of months ago, which was way past the deadline that's written in the law. The first thing he dropped was pictures of Bill Clinton because he hates him. He despises Bill Clinton. Okay. And then Bill Clinton came out and said, okay, drop everything, anything pertaining to me, referring to me, any pictures, anything. Nothing else came out. Then we got the 3 million files, and Clinton is in there. I'm not sure how many times, but one time definitely accused of raping a 13-year-old with Donald Trump. So he would put Clinton away in a heartbeat. He's not covering for Clinton, you dope. He's covering for himself. The reason you've been convinced of that is because the Republicans are trying to force the Clintons to testify. And the Clintons have been saying yes, but we're only doing it in public so the whole country can see. We're not going to do this in some closed door meeting with the Republicans so they could change our words and cover shit up that we said and everything else. But Trump doesn't want that. Trump doesn't want that because, first of all, Bill Clinton has some information on him. I guarantee it. That's number one. And number two, Trump knows that if they can make Clinton do that, they can make him do it. The Democrats can make him do it. And that's why he's ducked depositions his whole life. That's why he's never sued a single person who accused him of sexual assault, because he's under oath then. And if he lies, he can go to jail. So that's why you've been convinced of that. He's been coming out and saying, oh, I don't like what they're doing to Clinton. Yeah, but only because if they do it to him, it could be done to you. Yeah, no, in Georgia, you're not going to get any, not from this administration. Tattoos are so gay. That might be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. You guys are not good at insulting people, are you? Well, no, he didn't actually say that, but that's what people are thinking, that him and Hillary are like, if we're going down, you're going down with us, They are, man. Yeah, but we also know that Trump was an informant for Epstein. Oh, God. For the FBI. Oh, God almighty. It's fucking... Oh, I'm so exhausted. Oh, my God. All right. Yeah, but we also know that Trump was an informant for the FBI to spy on Epstein, which the only reason why there's any files being talked about is because Trump was an informant. Watch. Was Donald Trump ever an informant for the FBI against Jeffrey Epstein?
Based on available evidence and official statements as of February 2026, there is no evidence that Donald Trump was an official, registered, or formal informant for the FBI against Jeffrey Epstein.
He was never. Jesus Christ. Guys, Mike Johnson said this once to, he was trying to make shit better since the whole country could see Trump was covering up the files. So he was like, he wasn't. He was actually an informant. And then the next day he had to walk it back. Listen.
While some political allies, notably Speaker Mike Johnson, initially claimed in September 2025 that Trump was an FBI informant who tried to take this stuff down, they later walked back those comments, stating they misspoke and that it was not the right terminology.
He never worked with law enforcement of any kind against Jeffrey Epstein. Never fucking happened. Never. Unbelievable. You guys, I'm telling you, this is what's scary, man, is that you guys are fucking, you're able to vote. I mean, it's terrifying. You know nothing about politics, Donald Trump, anything. The Epstein file, nothing. And you have the same right to vote that I do. That's fucked up. Trump got mad at Epstein because Epstein had a girl that reminded Trump of Ivanka Stephenson. If he was, why did he supposedly call the sheriff and ask and say everybody knows about Epstein? Yeah, exactly. He didn't even call the police until after Epstein was busted. Jesus Christ, man. Stephanie, there's something else, aren't they? Do you know that if Donald Trump, the most braggadocious man in the world, who's been spending his entire life trying to please everybody and be some sort of hero, if he was an informant against Epstein, why wouldn't he be saying it 24 fucking hours a day on Fox News, on every news network, in all the newspapers, on Truth Social, on X? Why wouldn't he or anyone close to him be saying, well, Trump was an FBI informant? He helped bring down Epstein. Of course, if that was true, he would be. Guys, do me a favor. Hit like and subscribe. Nobody's donating money on this one, which is pretty disgusting. But if you could at least hit like and subscribe, that would be awesome. 455 broke people watching the show, I guess. Trump met Ivanka on the Holy Express. No. Melania. I couldn't remember her name. Yeah, I'll tell you what, creating with Violet and Dad, go find me any proof that she was a teenager. Any proof. I'll wait right here. I promise you, I'll bring it up on the screen. And when we find the proof, when you show it to me, I'll put it on the screen and I'll say, you know what? I am shutting down my channel. You will never see me on YouTube again. This channel has made me $500,000 easy in the last 4.5 years, but I will shut it down if you can get me any credible source that says Joe Biden took showers with his own teenage daughter. Go ahead. Sure they are. That's why one side fought desperately to get the files released while the other side is still covering them up. We don't? Oh, you're talking to one of them. Yeah. You don't even know any policy. They don't know any policies. They don't know anything about Biden or Trump. Well, it's very simple, Philip. All you got to do is hit the 3 dots, and hit don't recommend channel, and then you don't have to come in here and whine like a little bitch. She was 11, not a teen. Same deal for you. If you could find me any credible source that says she was 11, I will shut down my channel. If you want, I'll even sign it over to you. You'll have like 14,000 subs. You hit the ground running. You could do a whole MAGA channel. Get me any credible source that says she was 15 or 11, or how about this? Any age. Get me any credible source that says what age Ashley Biden was when this was happening, and I'll give you my channel. I don't think she sued the lady. I think she sued Gawker. More credible than his daughter. Well, again, if his daughter said that, then you could easily go get me the excerpt from the diary and quote it in the chat. Go right ahead. Because I've read the diary. And never anywhere in the diary did she say anything about how old she was. She said as a child, showers that were probably not appropriate. She didn't even say inappropriate. And then in a letter to a judge, she said, this is disgusting. Basically, my dad never did anything to hurt me. I love him dearly, which, by the way, she just introduced him at the DNC like a year ago and said some of the most beautiful things I've ever heard a daughter say about a father. She said in the letter to the judge that her words were grossly misinterpreted, taken out of context, and used to lob false accusations against innocent people. What she never said is how old she was. You guys just make shit up as you go. But I'll wait on those sources, guys. Go ahead. I'm all ready to turn over my channel to you. Well, yeah, because listen, somebody just said, what's a better source than his daughter? No better source. And that's just it. If you believe her when she said showers that were probably not appropriate, and you believe she's a good source, then what about when she said, my dad never did anything of the sort to me? You don't believe her then. It's just like I said in the beginning of the show. If somebody says something that fits your narrative, you'll say it's true. If it doesn't fit your narrative, you'll say it's false. So yes, I believe she is the best source. And her last words about this were, my dad never did anything to hurt me. And my words were grossly misinterpreted and taken out of context. See how I use your own logic against you? Biden couldn't release the files. And again, Trump did not release the files because he wanted to release the files. He was forced to release the files. Forced by law. Just Google, did Joe Biden take showers with his teenage daughter? And in 2020, she said in her diary, was she lying to herself? I think you need to shut the channel down. Oh, yeah? Because watch this. I'm going to Google it right now. How old did Ashley Biden say she was when she was taking showers with her father? Based on the widely reported unverified excerpts from a diary alleged to belong to Ashley Biden, the author wrote about taking showers with her father, Joe Biden, when she was a child. See, you even had to lie, Mr. Jaybird. The leaked diary entry, which contained addiction, recovery, and trauma, contained a reference to showers with my dad, probably not appropriate. The diary entry did not explicitly state a specific age. Oh, what do you know? It's almost like I know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about, huh? Did not explicitly state a specific age at which these showers occurred, but rather referenced them in the context of childhood past sexual trauma and hypersexualized at a young age. And by the way, if you look at where she says she was hypersexualized, she was talking about a female relative's house she used to go to. We still don't know what exactly that's about. Ashley Biden acknowledged in April 2024 letter that the diary was hers, while stating her writings had been distorted and manipulated. The diary was stolen in 2020 and subsequently sold to the activist group Project Veritas, with excerpts later published by a right-wing blog. Did I say blob? I was thinking of Trump. I'm sorry, a right-wing blob. All right, guys. Well, listen, like I said, man, it's just my thing, you know. I'm here for money, so there is none, so I'm going to bounce. Just hold on. Google is very liberal, so why wouldn't they hide this if they are so unreliable? Yeah, exactly. No, and Google, wait a minute. What are you saying? Google is very liberal, so why wouldn't they hide this? I think I know what you mean, but there's no saying. People say Google is liberal. There is no proof of that whatsoever. I mean, guys, anytime I Google something and it's the answer you want, I'm talking to MAGA people. You guys believe it wholeheartedly. You say, there's proof that I was right. So Google's word is gold. But when it says something you don't like, Google's no good. That's why I also use Grok on these shows a lot. Grok, Elon Musk's AI. Yeah, Google's not giving you the wrong answers, guys, because the answers aren't coming from Google. When you Google something, what you'll see at the top, those things up there, it'll give you a list of sources it pulled the information from. 12 years old. Yeah, never said that. All right, guys, see you next time. Peace. But the Dow is up, yeah. Just about that real quick. Pam Bondi said it's up $50,000, which is hilarious. Stupid bitch. But the Dow hit a record high of 45,000 under Biden, and it just now hit a record of 50,000 under Trump. What does that tell you? It always hits record highs. It's always going to. Hey, let me tell you something you're not going to believe. The next record high will be 55,000. All right, guys. Peace.